the Millers again. Off for another day at Crystal Lake.
They're always having good times together.
Wish my family were like that. We never do anything. Never have the time.
Neither do we. Even if we did, we couldn't afford it.
But how do they do it?
You know, so many people are asking how the Millers manage to have so much fun as a family.
What's the answer? Is it money?
Or is it magic?
Neither. It's something they worked out together. They woke up to the fact that they wanted their family life to be fun.
Who doesn't?
But how did they work it out?
To understand, let's go back several months and eavesdrop on the Millers one Friday evening before they got wise to themselves.
Mother, you promised to have dinner ready at 6 o'clock.
I'm sorry, Catherine. I just didn't finish my other work in time.
Oh, well. Dad's not home yet anyway. Nobody seems to care that I have a date at 7 o'clock.
You can still make it, dear. I'll do the dishes alone.
But you and Dad are going to the movies.
I'm too tired. I did all the washing today, and I cleaned your room, too. It really needed it.
I meant to come home and clean it, Mother. But after school, there was a meeting.
Mother! I can't wear these slacks tonight. You said you'd press them.
I know, Harold, but I just didn't.
Why don't you press them yourself?
Say, where's my tennis racket?
In my closet. I broke it. I meant to tell you.
You broke it? And me with an important match tomorrow. Why didn't you get it fixed?
Where would I get the money?
Money? Mother, I need a couple of dollars to take Mary out tonight.
I haven't any money, Harold. But you might ask your father when he comes home.
Fine thing. Dinner late, tennis racket broken, no money for a date, and no pants to wear. If this family were a business, we'd go bankrupt, but fast.
That night, Mrs. Miller was thinking about what Harold said.
If this family were a business, in a way, we are a business. We have money to handle, just as a business has. Yet we never make it last from one payday to the next. But that's not all we can't seem to manage. Isn't there a better way to manage ourselves? Wouldn't we all be happier if we worked out a little system for living together in harmony? It's worth a try. I've called this first meeting of the Miller family to propose that we try to establish a definite program for managing our home so that we'll all get more out of it. More fun, more leisure, and more harmony.
I'm certainly in favor of those things. Harmony, leisure, fun.
Who isn't?
But how can we manage them?
We'll have to work out the full answer together. But for a start, I've made a list of points that will guide us. 1, schedule. 2, responsibilities. 3, privileges. And 4, finances.
Sounds impressive.
What do they mean?
How do they work?
Well, remember last Friday evening? It was nothing special. We've had plenty of differences just like it. I caused a good part of the trouble by not having dinner on time. We need to make a definite schedule and stick to it so we can all make plans accordingly.
I can be more careful about coming home in time for dinner or phoning when I'm going to be late.
Yes, but then I didn't have dinner ready, so
Because you took time to clean my room. That's something I should have done.
Well, that's my second guide. Responsibility. Dividing up the work and deciding who is going to be responsible for what.
I guess it's my responsibility to press my own pants.
Well, sounds reasonable if you're the one who's going to wear them.
Well, by this next point? Privileges.
Well, responsibilities and privileges always go together. If we accept responsibilities, then we acquire certain privileges.
Such as?
Well, such as... I can think of one. Privilege of having your private rights respected. Such as having someone ask your permission when she wants to borrow your tennis racket.
That's the general idea. Now, my fourth point is finances.
Yes, where are we going to get more money?
We don't.
You mean a budget?
Well, if we were a business, wouldn't we have a plan for spending our money?
That does it.
Well, I'd like to suggest that we adjourn for now and all give this some serious thought, and then get together for another meeting next Monday after dinner to discuss a plan for spending and all these other matters.
Good idea. I'd like to have these family meetings every week.
After we've worked this out, later on we can check up on how we're doing.
Well, it looks as though I really started something.
Say, Mom, you're swell.
That's how the Millers came to manage their home, so it would be more fun.
Does it really work?
These guides to home management, can my family use them?
Well, let me give you a few clues. Take the matter of schedule. Here's a breakfast scene at the Millers. Quiet, easy. By following a practical morning schedule, they're all ready in time for school and work. And in the evening, Mother has plenty of pep left to entertain friends, because by scheduling the work she does each day, she saves herself from doing too much. And when seasonal jobs are scheduled, Harold is glad to help his father. It doesn't happen that he has other important plans for the day. Of course, this is also a matter of responsibilities, which are divided up according to individual abilities and interests. Besides doing assigned jobs and caring for his own clothes and belongings, each is responsible for being considerate of the others. For instance, putting things back where others expect to find them. With responsibilities go privileges. Although the strength of the family lies in unity, each member has individual rights. The right to open his own mail, the right of privacy, to work alone, undisturbed by loud noises in the house or by unwanted visitors, and the right to have opinions respected. This privilege the Millers protect in their family council meetings. Let's listen now for a few pointers on the fourth guide to home management, finances.
As you know, our financial position has greatly improved during the 6 months we've been planning our spending instead of letting our money slip away from us. However, during the past 2 months, what with Mother's operation and Catherine's dental work, our medical expenses have been very heavy, more than our budget could provide for. So the question is, where is the money going to come from?
Well, we could take our vacation money.
Oh, no. That's a big thing we've been saving for.
Well, can't we find the money in some other account?
No, not that much money.
Maybe a little bit here and a little bit there.
Well, I don't know.
Look, that new electric mixer we'd figured on buying, I can do without that.
No, Mother. You've been wanting that for so long.
Wait a minute. If Mother can do without her mixer, I'll skip my new dress. That is, if Mother will help me make over the one Aunt Grace gave me.
Of course I will, dear.
Well, if that's the way, I guess we can patch up the old seat covers in the car, put off getting new ones until next spring.
Sure thing. And if I can get a little help with my jobs around here, I'll be able to clear time to pick up some extra money working after school.
You see, the trick lies not in having the most money, but in making the most of the money you have. That's how the Millers are using good home management to achieve a happier family life. Now, do you think they're successful?
Looks good to me.
They certainly manage better than my family.
Then let me leave this question with you. with all of you who've been watching the Miller family. What can you do to help make your home a well-managed home?
That's a lot of mail. Newspapers piling up. All those milk bottles. Looks like nobody's home, doesn't it? My name is Burke. I'm an inspector for American Express. What you've just seen occurs to hundreds of thousands of homes each year while families are on vacation. But it doesn't have to happen to your home. And the chances are it won't if you remember to take a few simple precautions before you leave home. Since American Express gives you complete travel service, no matter where you're going or when, we thought it would be a good idea to have a booklet like this telling you all the things you should do before you go. You can get one at any American Express office. Let me show you how one family used our booklet in preparing for their vacation. Be sure to stop all deliveries. Leave a note for your postman to hold your mail, or better yet, leave instructions at the post office. An overstuffed mailbox is a sure sign to one and all that you're away from home. When the family's away, leave a key with a neighbor in case of emergency. It's wise to pay your bills before leaving, so you'll keep your credit in good standing. And don't forget the rent. No member of the family should leave home without proper identification. If you're going by car, don't forget to take your automobile registration certificate. Check the date of your driver's license to make sure it won't expire while you're away from home. See that your insurance is up to date and that you have a record of the serial numbers of your typewriter, vacuum cleaner, and other appliances. It's a good idea to tell the police how long you're going to be away, so they'll be on the alert for anything out of the ordinary in your neighborhood. They might advise you to leave a light on in one or two rooms. A few cents worth of electricity is a strong barrier against intruders. Windows must be shut and locked, but the house shouldn't look closed, so don't pull the shades all the way down. A safety deposit box at your bank is the best protection for important papers, jewelry, and other valuables that should be left behind. And at your bank, you can get guaranteed protection for your travel money, too. Carelessness, thefts, and fires in which money is destroyed cost Americans millions of dollars a year. But American Express Travelers Cheques give you insured protection against such losses. You can spend them like cash, anywhere. And if your checks are lost or stolen, you get your money back quickly. A few things in the kitchen need attention the day you leave. The refrigerator should be emptied, defrosted, and the current or pilot light turned off. This eliminates a major fire hazard in case there's a short circuit or the pilot light blows out. The gas and the pilot light on the stove should be turned off too. And don't forget the water heater. Almost time to go. Luggage, fishing equipment, and cameras should be locked in the trunk where they'll be safely out of sight. Don't worry, Blackie, you're going too. Billy wouldn't think of going without you. The first aid kit belongs up front in the glove compartment, as well as a small sewing kit, just in case Billy pops a button or rips his pants. A flashlight goes in there, too. That thermos bottle and lunch pail Billy has are a good idea. Somebody is sure to get thirsty or hungry when there isn't a road stand in sight. Most veterinarians say that dogs are happier traveling with their families than left behind with strangers. Your veterinarian may suggest one of the sedatives that humans take for car sickness, or he may recommend aspirin. Some states require a rabies injection every 6 months, so you should have an up-to-date certificate. Yes, every item in the booklet has been checked. And speaking of checks, no, he didn't forget traveler's checks. This vacation is off to a good start. I hope you'll remember American Express Travelers Cheques the next time you leave home. They're the sure way to protect your money against loss or theft. And to protect your home while you're away, I urge you to take the precautions we've shown you in this film.
Thanks for the order, Mr. Williams. I'll try to see to get delivery within a week. Goodbye. It's great to deal with a man who knows his business. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Just about time for Mr. Williams to buzz for one of us, isn't it, Jean?
Why, yes, he usually gives dictation about this time.
I wish I had your experience. It still makes me nervous every time I'm called for dictation.
That's natural when you're new at it, but don't let it worry you, Marge. After you've been here a little longer, you'll be able to take it in your stride.
Maybe, if you keep on helping me the way you have. But I can't help feeling I have so much to learn.
You saw the two girls who work for me out there. I'm lucky to have them. Jean, the blonde, is my secretary. Marge is my stenographer. In time, Marge, too, probably will be a secretary. But she has just recently started to work, and she has a lot to learn. Things all beginners have to learn. Take the matter of dictation, for example. Yesterday morning, when I was ready to get out my correspondence, Jean was busy on a rush job, so I buzzed for Marge.
Now, Marge herself admits that she always becomes flustered at the prospect of taking dictation. She had trouble finding her notebook. Finally, she dug it out of a pile of papers. She should have been ready to start then, but she had forgotten to sharpen her pencils. At last, she was ready to answer my call. This wasted time had not only slowed things up for her, but kept me waiting as well. Before we could begin, I had to remind her about one more thing. Marge was sitting in the chair where the last caller had left it. She forgot that I prefer to have her sit on the opposite side of my desk. She should have remembered, too, to mark the place where she stopped the last time she took dictation. At last, we were ready to begin. We did get through the morning mail, but it could have been done much more easily if Marge had had more experience, if she had developed the accurate, efficient work habits which characterize a good secretary. Even after she had left, she had to come back for her handkerchief. A little care would have spared me this interruption.
I don't mean to be hard on Marge. She will improve, and she may develop into a really good secretary, especially since she has Jean to help her. Now, yesterday afternoon, after Jean had finished her rush job, I buzzed for her.
She was ready. In Jean's desk, everything is neat. Her notebooks stay in a definite place. Knowing that I may start dictating right away, she opens her notebook in advance to the place where she will start writing. She has marked with a rubber band a clean page dated for today's dictation. When she knows she has almost filled one notebook, she takes along another, which she may need during dictation. She doesn't forget any of the tools necessary for taking dictation. She prefers a fountain pen, but she takes 2 sharp pencils also in case her pen runs dry. And she's all ready for dictation. Now, it may have seemed that she took quite a while, because there were quite a few things to be pointed out. So, watch her movements again. I barely have my finger off the button before she's on her way to my office. By preparing herself in advance, she has saved time for both of us. She sits so she can watch me as I dictate. And I don't have to tell her to put her notebook on the desk in order to have a solid surface on which to write. Then we're underway with no time loss. Each item of dictation is numbered. A rush item carries a special notation and is marked with a paper clip, so she can find it quickly when she starts to transcribe. Other notations mark letters to be sent airmail or special delivery, and various instructions such as carbon copy for sales department. The same number is given the item of correspondence as the dictated letter which answers it. Items of correspondence are placed face down to keep them in proper order. Other notations such as RUF to indicate a rough draft help her organize her work. Of course, my dictation involves many things besides letters. There are telegrams which she marks just as she does rush letters. Other items of dictation include memorandums and notes on such things as making arrangements for trips, instructions for answering letters without dictation, and various other matters, all of which Jean keeps carefully organized. She uses longhand to be sure of unfamiliar words and difficult proper names. This may take a little longer, but it saves time in the long run. Whenever I make a grammatical error or repeat, then she either asks me about it, or if it's a simple error, she corrects the mistake when she transcribes. She keeps pace with my dictation. If she gets a little behind while I'm dictating rapidly, she doesn't become flustered. She knows that before very long I'll have to stop and think what to say next. That's when she catches up with me. Notice how she keeps moving the page up so that it's easy to turn to the next. Reaching the end of a notebook causes no delay in Jean's work. She just continues in a new book, which she had the foresight to bring with her. Quite often a phone call comes in while I'm dictating, and I have to stop for a few minutes. A good secretary like Jean uses this time to check her notes. She checks the last paragraph I've dictated, and then if there's time, she also puts in some of the more important punctuation. She could do this later, but it's easier now with the dictation fresh on her mind. When I get back to dictating, I've often lost track of just where we were and want Jean to repeat the last paragraph. She knows this usually happens. Having just checked her notes, she's always ready for it. Frequently, I want to change what I said at first, so she crosses it out and starts again. When I want to add a few words to a sentence already written, she simply inserts them between the lines. For a longer insert, she marks the proper place in her notes and writes the insert below. That's how it was when I dictated to Jean yesterday afternoon. It didn't take long to finish. As we went along, she had asked me to clear up any doubtful points after each item of dictation had been completed. She had a question about the dictation, and she asked it right then. We discussed a few matters about old work still in progress. When Jean left, she took everything with her. None of this coming back and interrupting me.
Yes, Jean is a good secretary, as you can see by the way she takes dictation. She's neat, accurate, reliable, and speedy. She gives attention to the little details that simplify our work. She's always ready to take dictation. She checks and rechecks at every opportunity so that her work is accurate. So you can see how much Marge has to learn before she can be rated as a secretary like Jean. A good secretary.
$4 gross last month. And a gross here, 14. Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah, I guess we can sometime next week. Maybe.
And I'm too busy to argue about it. Yeah, that dope's right over here. If I can reach it.
What do you want? Huh? Oh, he's not in. I don't know.
Burton Supply Company. The accounting department? Surely. You're welcome. Yes, Mr. Stevens. Universal? No, they haven't called today. I'll get them for you right away.
How do you do? Would you tell Mr. Burton, that Mr. Hopper is here, please?
Oh, yes, Mr. Hopper. He's expecting you. He's on long distance now.
Well, that's quite all right. I'll wait.
Care to see the paper?
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you.
Mr. Stevens calling just a minute. Burton Supply Company. Shipping room? Yes, sir, I'll do that. Burton Supply Company. Oh, Mr. Lusk is out of town today. Mr. Whiteside will handle that matter for you. Yes, sir, I'll connect you. You're welcome. Yes, Mr. Patterson? Oh, you'll be in the stock room? Surely, I'll transfer your calls to the stock room all day. Burton Supply Company. Mr. Wilson? Thank you.
Mr. Burton's finished, Mr. Hopper. Go right in.
How's that?
You may go in now.
Oh, thank you. Henry! Hello.
Well, if it isn't Ted Hopper. How are things out on the coast?
Great. Are you ready for lunch?
Sure, Ted. As soon as I take care of one more telephone call. Should be in any time now. Here, sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Ah, thanks.
Cigarette?
Sure.
Well, Ted, it's good to see you again.
Say, what sort of magic do you work around here?
Same old Ted, always talking in riddles. What do you mean magic? I'm no Houdini.
You must have something to lure that gal here. The one who runs your switchboard out there.
Oh, you mean Miss Tanner?
I don't know what her name is, but that girl sure knows how to handle a switchboard.
Yep, she's good, all right.
Still the master of understatement, aren't you, Henry? Yeah, she's good, all right. Where did you get her?
She's the same operator we've had all along.
Yeah?
Sounds like you've been impressed.
You know what? I think I'll kidnap her.
What for?
What for? 'Cause telephone habits in my office could stand a shot in the arm, that's what for. Well, aren't you worried about my wanting your gal?
Look, Ted, just stealing my switchboard operator won't solve your telephone problems. Or anybody else's, for that matter.
That's all. Says who?
My switchboard operator sounds good, and is good. But the rest of my organization is good, too.
They're just telephone-wise.
Telephone-wise? What's the magic formula?
Look, I told you before, there's no magic at all. It's very simple. It all started several months ago, when I was very anxious to get to the office early one morning. Had an important business conference coming up. A miserable day for my car to break down. Of course, with the rain, all the taxis were taken. So, about the only thing to do was call the office.
Oh, why don't they answer?
Hello?
Well, it's about time. Get me Bill Johnson.
Who? What do you want?
I said, get me Bill Johnson. Bill Johnson!
Oh, just a minute. I didn't get the name. Who'd you want?
Mr. William C. Johnson. Johnson of the accounting department. And don't take all day.
Oh, Johnson. I'll see if he's in.
What do you mean, I'll see if he's in? Don't you know?
Well, is Johnson in or isn't he? Oh, is this Mr. Burton?
Yes!
Well, yes, sir. I'll get Johnson. I'll get Mr. Johnson right away. Yes, sir.
Well, it was a struggle, but I finally got Johnson, and he took care of the arrangements for the conference. But I started thinking things over. It's funny, always when I called before, I was treated like a king. But this time, she didn't recognize my voice at first. She was pretty indifferent, disinterested. I began doing a little supposing. Supposing all telephone calls at the office, particularly customers, got kicked around. I wonder if that could have anything to do with our sales dropping off with Universal. Maybe Acme didn't call back last week because... Yeah. Right then and there, I decided to look into this telephone situation. At the office, my eyes and ears got a real workout. Thoughtless telephone habits all over the place, although my employees didn't realize it. For example, customers were kept waiting forever, it seemed.
This is Miss Flower from the Burton Supply Company. I just wanted to check with you about their order.
Some garbled their conversation so much that even I couldn't understand them, let alone the customer at the other end of the line.
Go ahead with it. Now, if we don't have these two things by this afternoon, I wish you'd check back with me.
Yours of the 4th received, and subsequent orders will be shipped commensurate with existing stocks pursuant to our agreement as of the 12th, period. Heretofore, we had adhered to our strict policy as outlined in our previous letter. Hello? Hello? Guess they hung up. Well, couldn't have been very important. Now, let's see.
Well, it didn't take much looking around my office to see we had a plain case of bad telephone manners. It began to worry me. Something ought to be done. But I was no expert on telephone manners. The telephone company. Why, I must have passed this building 1,000 times. Never entered my head to go in. But why not? Maybe they could help. Got nothing to lose. What'd I mean, maybe they could help? Of course they could. They'd feel that's part of their job. I told them my story. Then I asked if I could borrow their ideas of good telephone manners. I got some booklets on telephone courtesy. And a representative from the telephone company came over to look around the office. He noticed a lot of thoughtless habits I had missed, including some of my own. And then, knowing what was wrong, I had confidence to go ahead.
So you picked up a lot of pamphlets and stuff and put one in each pay envelope as a surprise.
No, Ted, I'm serious. As soon as I knew what the trouble was, I thought the best way to convince my people of proper telephone usage and the dividends it pays was to show them. So I put on a telephone show.
And now you're in the show business. Henry Burton, the poor man's Cecil B. DeMille.
Joke all you want to, Ted, but that show got results. Held it in the stockroom. Actually, anybody could put on a show like mine with a few desks and a couple of telephones. I called in my people and started with an important point which they hadn't realized. In a business like ours, telephoning is as important as personal visits of our salesmen. Good habits please our customers. Bad habits only irritate them. Telephone courtesy not only makes work easier, it makes our customers feel welcome and impresses them that we're glad to do business with them. Let's look at it this way. The telephone is meant to work for us. Yes, that's right, work for us. The important thing is knowing how to put it to work properly. Good telephone manners aren't difficult, they're easy and natural. Let's run through a few fundamentals. First off, when you're making a call, be sure you have the right number. So if you're not sure, look it up in your directory or your list of frequently called numbers. Saves loss of your time, avoids wrong numbers, and prevents the possibility of disturbing someone who is not at all interested in your call. Now, when you're going to dial a number, wait for the dial tone. You're all familiar with it. It's the hum you hear in the receiver, like this. This tone is the same as the operator saying, "Number, please." It tells you the equipment is ready to handle your call. Now, if you start dialing before you hear that hum, you'll either get the wrong number or no number at all. So wait for the dial tone. It's another time saver. When it's necessary to signal the operator, do it this way, a definite rhythm. If you pump up and down impatiently like this, about the only thing you're likely to get is high blood pressure. It may sound queer, me telling you how to talk over the telephone, but it's surprising how many of us make careless mistakes. Here's what I mean. Speak clearly in a conversational tone, like this, directly into the mouthpiece. Try to avoid talking too fast, and by all means, never talk with anything in your mouth, or you'll sound as if you have a mouthful of mush. The Chelsea department store, send me over 4 prefabricated houses right away. Well, you get the idea. It's the same with pipe, chewing gum, or cigarettes. They clutter up your speech and make you hard to be understood. And worst of all, it's very rude. Let's take an incoming call all the way through, from beginning to end. Of course, it's just common sense to be ready for a call at all times. Pad and pencil go with the telephone just as cheese goes with apple pie. If you have these handy, you won't have to hunt all over the place for something to write on when you're in the middle of a call. And by the way, it's a good habit to take notes on telephone conversations because they'll serve as reminders for you. Now we're ready for an incoming call. Answer your telephone promptly, before the second ring if possible. If your phone rings on and on 6 or 8 times, the caller can easily get the idea that we're not interested in his call. And besides, you all know how that endless ringing of somebody else's phone disturbs you. Then answer by identifying yourself, and the office if necessary. Don't just say hello. It's old-fashioned and wastes time. Now, you all know what I mean.
Hello? Oh, hello. Who's calling? Well, what number is this? Well, what number are you calling? Well, I'm calling your number. Oh, is that you, Myrtle? Yes, who's that, Hortense? Yes, this is Hortense. Oh, hello. Hello.
Well, you see what I mean. Now, the right way to answer your telephone is, well, you've all noticed how the Acme people handle their calls.
Credit Department, Mr. Stevens.
Mr. Andrews' office, Miss Carter speaking.
just like that, and I know you've seen it happen many, many times. That's the quickest way to let the customer know who's answering and how to continue his conversation. But no matter whose phone you're answering, your own or anybody else's, always make your customer feel that you're interested in his call. Be obliging and polite. Then, when you're sure he's finished, bring the conversation to a definite, courteous close, like this. Yes, that's fine. Thanks for calling, Mr. Frisbee. Goodbye. A pleasant thank you, goodbye, is much better than hanging up, maybe while the other party is still talking or listening. It's just being considerate. Oh, yes, and when you hang up, put the telephone securely on its base, making sure it rests squarely on the cradle. See that there are no books or other objects in the way. You'd be surprised how these suggestions for proper telephone usage add up to make your working day more enjoyable.
Is there anything special for long-distance calls, Mr. Burton?
The same simple rules apply. However, there's one thing particularly important for out-of-town calling. If for any reason your call doesn't go through right away, stay near your telephone until it does go through.
Thank you.
If you must leave your office, let the operator know where you can be reached and when you expect to be back. Or leave a note by your telephone explaining where you are, like this. Making a habit of telling the switchboard operator where you are is a good idea, whether you expect a call or not. Then she won't have to hunt all over the place for you when you're out of your office. Now, here's a time saver. Keep information handy, so you won't irritate customers by keeping them waiting while you leave the telephone and work yourself into a lather hoping to find what you're looking for.
Well, that might be a good system, Mr. Burton, but I can't possibly pile 15 or 20 filing cabinets on my desk just for telephone calls.
It's quite possible. You can't have everything at your fingertips. But here's how to handle a call like that. All right, Mr. Whiteside, if you'll help me out, we'll show 'em. Burton.
Whiteside of Universal calling. Could you give me the complete figures on our last year's purchases?
Be glad to, Mr. Whiteside, but that'll take a few minutes. Do you prefer to wait, or shall I call you back?
Well, I am pretty busy at the moment. Call me back, please.
As soon as I have the figures. Your number is?
Dawson, 81237.
Dawson, 81237?
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. When a customer calls wanting detailed information that takes you away from the telephone, ask him if he prefers to wait or be called back. Then be sure you have his correct telephone number. All of this makes it easier for you and serves our customers better. Now, this next may seem far-fetched, but it's really quite a serious time and energy waster. Miss Barkley and Mrs. Carey, please. Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. That'll be all. The importance of answering your own telephone yourself is, well, see for yourself.
Yes, sir?
Get me Mr. Blackwell at Acme.
Yes, sir.
Acme, give me Mr. Blackwell. Well, who's calling? What difference does it make who's calling? Give me Mr. Blackwell.
Well, I have
to know who's calling. Mr. Burton's calling. Well, put Mr. Burton on and I'll connect you. No, you put Mr. Blackwell on first. Well, who does Mr. Burton think he is? And who does Mr. Blackwell think he is? Now, listen here, you put him on the line or Listen, sister, your Mr. Burton isn't so
Okay,
high.
all right, girls, we're convinced. Thank you very, very much. So you see, it is pretty obvious that answering your own telephone in person is a good habit. And now, Miss Boyd, we're ready for you. Miss Boyd will help me show you how you can get gray hair in one easy lesson through the irritating practice of being transferred from one office to another. Miss Boyd.
That's about it. We're going to need all those figures immediately.
You're speaking to the wrong department, ma'am.
How's that?
I said you're speaking with the wrong department. I'll transfer you to...
You mean I'll have to explain this again? The whole routine?
That's right. Mr. Williams handles things like that.
Oh, all right. Put him on.
Now, if you'll imagine it's 20 minutes later, we'll see how Miss Boyd is making out.
But I've already explained what I want to Mr. Marshall and Mr. Thomas and Mr. Green. You're not the one either?
No, that's Mr. Wilbur's problem. He may be back later. Call then.
After all this mix-up, call again. Listen, I wouldn't call your place if...
Thank you, Miss Boyd. All of that heartbreaking struggle can be avoided. If you can't handle a call yourself, make sure you transfer your customer to the proper department or office, like this. I'm sorry, Mrs. Maxwell, but Mr. Johnson will handle that for you. Would you care to speak with him? I'll be glad to have your call transferred. It's just as easy as that. Just be sure your caller is transferred to the right party. It saves so much time and energy for you and the customer. Now, the most important consideration of telephoning, how your voice sounds on the other end of the line. Every time you talk on the telephone, the customer has some kind of mental picture of you. Now, if your voice personality is dull and lifeless, like this, hello, in his imagination, you'll probably look like this. And the customer will feel you just aren't interested in his call. Or that you work for a business that's something close to this. One of the best ways to make a good impression on a caller is to speak with a smile in your voice. An interested voice, combined with proper telephone usage, is like offering a warm handshake over the phone. And with it, you'll appear like this to your callers. Our business, more like this. Just by a sparkle in your voice. Something like this. Accounting department, Mr. Stevens. When the show was over, the comments were interesting.
You know, the boss said a mouthful. That stuff will save a lot of wear and tear on the customers.
Yeah, and on poor little me, too.
Sounds as easy as walking.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, sir, Ted. That show got us off on the right foot.
Sounds reasonable, but did the show alone do the trick? For instance, did it change your switchboard operator into a mild sensation?
Well, that was part of it. The rest was making sure she had a chance to be a switchboard operator. How could I expect her to be a mild sensation, as you call it, with typing and filing and receptionist duties, in addition to her switchboard? The girl had too much to do. A PBX instructor from the telephone company came over to study Miss Tanner's situation. Then her work was arranged so she could devote her attention exclusively to the switchboard. Now she's a welcoming committee of one. For incoming or outgoing calls, her appeal is evident in just a few words.
Burton Supply Company. Mr. Wilson? Yes, he is. Just a moment. Burton Supply Company. The shipping room? I'll connect you right away. There you are, sir.
And by the way, a business that's telephone-wise not only treats the callers right, but makes sure the customers have its telephone address.
Well, now I've heard everything. What is this mysterious telephone address?
Nothing mysterious. The telephone number of an office is just as important as the street number. So I have it printed where it can't be missed. On our letterheads and bill forms, even on our business cards. You see, that's our telephone address.
Well, now say that looks like a good idea.
May sound like I'm making a big issue out of a little thing, but we have found that telephone courtesy is made up of a lot of little things. It's a cooperative effort by all of us in the office. That's why you won't solve your problems just by stealing my switchboard operator.
Beginning to make sense, all right.
Our organization is doing a better telephone job now because it's easier. And we enjoy it. We're working as a team.
I see what you mean, Henry, but doesn't the gang forget? I mean, well, you know, slip back into the old habits occasionally.
Sometimes they do, yes. Naturally, my show wasn't enough to cure old habits, so I just followed through with what I'd started. Regular checkups and suggestions. It wasn't long, though, till the simple, easy things that make up telephone courtesy, prompt attention, thoughtful consideration, effective action on our customers' calls, became second nature with us. Ah, there it is. That must be my long-distance call. Excuse me, Ted.
Sure.
Burton. Yes, I'm ready. And Ted, to help keep us from slipping back into old habits, we have this reminder in front of us all the time.
Thank you for calling, Mr. Newland. I know the red telephone will be a nice birthday present for your daughter.
I'm sure it will. Thank you, Miss Blake.
You're welcome. Goodbye. Up you go, Mr. Newland. Hope you enjoy being number 5 for the day. Well, sure, these are records. Customers' records. But to me, they're, I don't know, something more. They've got to be. These are the people I have to live with and understand 5 days a week. They're pretty important to me, too. A lot of people in here. A lot of good days. Bad ones. A lot of fun. Happy experiences. Plenty of rough ones. And a lot of learning. Golly, you people, all of you, Mrs. Periwinkle, and Mr. Newland, Mr. Bronson, and Mrs. Merrill. How can I ever forget Mrs. Merrill, or any of you? Because of you and my supervisor, Marge, I'm really able to help and serve the people I talk to every day. But it wasn't once you all seemed so hard to talk to.
Just one telephone, dear. One's enough.
My apartment's too small.
Just put it in the center of the house. We'll get to it.
5 telephones in one house? Ridiculous, I tell you, ridiculous.
Well, an awful lot of my contacts seemed difficult. They scared me when I first started on the desk. These were the people in my city who needed my help, the telephone knowledge I'd been given. And I guess I didn't quite understand how to get to them. Although I was eager and anxious, I liked to talk to them. Liked my job, too. But, as I said before, learning from people and my supervisor, I found a way to help customers know about, use, and enjoy our telephone service. It's called 4 Steps to Sales. 1, fact-finding. 2, making the recommendation. 3, answering objections when they come up. 4, closing the sale, asking the customer to use our service. And up here on top, that's what we call the platform of sales. For me, this is an outline, a simple, organized plan. The only way I know to guide myself. To get the facts necessary to make a logical recommendation, so I can suggest to a customer quickly what telephone service he needs. Tell him what he needs and why. Answering any questions he might have about the recommendation I made. And closing, asking the customer to accept and use the service recommended. Well, these 4 steps have worked wonders for me and for the customer. It's a way to match the customer with the proper telephone service. And if you follow the 4 steps, it can lead to some pretty exciting contacts. This first step, getting the facts. Well, we get certain facts to handle any contact. But the things we have to know in order to give our customers the best, most complete telephone service are the number of rooms, the number of floors, and who uses the service. From what we find out, we have to decide what telephone service people really need. Terrific challenge, finding things out about people, especially when you can't see them. Pretty satisfying. Fun, too, if it comes out right. But if it doesn't, well, on this first step, getting the facts, that's where Mrs. Periwinkle came in. She was one of the first contacts I ever had.
Hello, this is Mrs. Roberta Periwinkle. We're moving into a new house next month.
I'll be glad to help you, Mrs. Periwinkle. May I have your telephone number, please?
Main 4, 1984.
May I have your new address, please?
2645 Woodbridge Road.
Is it a bigger house, Mrs. Periwinkle?
Yes.
Thank you. If you'll wait just a moment, I'll get your card out of the file so I'll be able to help you better. Just one telephone. Moving to a bigger house. Good chance to ask about additional sets. Maybe color, too. Here we are, Mrs. Periwinkle.
Yes?
Since you're moving to a bigger house, would you consider having some additional telephones?
No. One's enough.
Oh. Well, now, we can have a man out to your new address on the 17th. Will you be home at that time? I felt, well, unsatisfied. You know how you feel when a contact doesn't go right? She needed more than one telephone. Well, I believe everybody with more than one room to live in needs additional telephones. Yet I couldn't find out how many rooms her new house had. Couldn't even find out the number of people who were going to use the service. I had no more facts than when I began the contact. I wondered if maybe the kinds of questions I'd asked, how I asked them, if maybe that wasn't the key to getting facts. Well, I was determined to try, and I didn't have long to wait when I got another call.
My name is Newland, George Newland.
How can I help you, Mr. Newland?
I want to get a telephone.
Have you ever applied for a telephone before, sir?
Sure, have one. 2, in fact. Been a customer of yours for over 20 years. But not in this city, in Hawkinsville.
I see. I suppose your company is transferring you here?
That's right. I'm to be division sales manager.
That's wonderful, Mr. Newland. Could you tell me the name of your company, please, for our records?
Simons and Company.
Uh-huh. What will your new address be?
298 Ivy Road.
That's a lovely neighborhood. Now, how many rooms will your new house have?
Look, I didn't call to give you a short history of my life.
You know where the house is.
Now, all I want to find out is how long it'll take to get a couple of phones put in.
Golly, Mr. Newland, we want to give you the best possible telephone service we can. That's why it's important for us to know certain facts. If we know the number of rooms, then we can help you choose the best placement of telephones. If we know how many people there are in your family, well, we can suggest service that's the most comfortable and convenient.
Well, all right, that seems fair enough. What do you want to know?
Something about your new home, Mr. Newland. How many rooms has it?
7. 4 bedrooms. Got 3 kids to put in them.
Do they all use the telephone?
Well, not the 2 boys so much, but my daughter. Seems like she never stops using it.
Well, once I really made it clear that I was interested in helping. He told me about his wife, teenage daughter, 2 younger sons. And that house with all those rooms, 2 floors and a basement. A terrific opportunity. I was so excited I could hardly wait to start recommending telephones. And that's when I found out about step number 2, making the recommendation. Yep, I jumped right into step 2 with both my heads. Oh, my goodness, Mr. Newland. With your family and that house, you need an individual line and many more than 2 telephones.
I do?
Oh, yes. Of course, the one in the master bedroom's fine.
Good.
Let's see. Cost for 1 telephone will be $6.20 a month plus tax and $4.50 for installation. How's that sound?
Okay.
Then you need an additional telephone for the kitchen. Don't you think so?
Well, I never thought of that.
Only cost another $1.25, and one for the basement. That's $1.25 more.
No, I don't think so.
Well, what do you think about an additional telephone for the living room, sir? Maybe in color. We have some lovely colors, and they're only $10 more apiece.
I never considered one there.
Well, I'm sure you'll consider having another telephone in your daughter's room, won't you, Mr. Newland? In color?
No. Sounds like we'd be tangled up in telephones. I feel we should just have what we've always had, a telephone in the hall and one in the master bedroom. Worked before, stick to what we're used to.
I remember I finished with Mr. Newland and tumbled right off my happy pink cloud. I was quietly consoling myself for losing Mr. Newland when Marge, my supervisor, came by and asked me if anything was wrong. I told Marge about Mr. Newland, how I went through step number 1, got my facts, the kind of questions I'd asked, the information he volunteered. But when I started on step number 2, recommendations, well, I guess I just don't know how to make recommendations.
No. I think the number of telephones you wanted to recommend was right. It's just... Will you read the ads in the papers, Jennifer?
Sure, especially the Sunday ones.
Well, ever notice how nowadays they advertise in kind of units? I mean, you don't just see a refrigerator or a stove, but the whole kitchen. Everything fitted in place. And cars. They don't just sell the body, but heaters, radio, everything.
Come to think of it, you hardly ever see a skirt or dress by itself anymore. But with all the accessories that really make it pay off.
The complete picture.
Golly. I recommended additional telephones room by room. No wonder Mr. Newland felt like he was all tangled up in telephones. You know, I'll bet he would have accepted the recommendation if I'd done it as a whole instead of piece by piece. And I know just what I'd recommend for him. Let's see. Bedrooms, living room, kitchen, dining room, basement. Well, of course, an individual like. Then first, Mr. Newland, I'd put a telephone in the kitchen. It's really convenient. One here for comfort, here for convenience. This one and this one for privacy. There. That's complete telephone service for your home, Mr. Newland. Really terrific.
No. 5 telephones in one house? Who ever heard of that?
Would really be wonderful service, Mr. Newland. It fits perfectly.
Not for me, it doesn't. The front hall's centrally located. My daughter's got enough energy to walk to the phone. Costs too much.
Guess you need more than just recommending complete service.
You need reasons. Reasons that mean something to the customer.
Oh?
Well, when you get the facts, you've got to interpret them in terms of what you know, or what your training's taught you about our equipment. The things you know about how you and your family live, how your friends live. You take the facts, what you know about people, you come up with reasons.
Gee, like with 3 children, Mrs. Newland must spend an awful lot of time in the kitchen. And a teenage daughter would just love a telephone of her own.
We can also make other assumptions, like, well, a 5-room apartment has 2 bedrooms usually. So does a 5-room house.
Yes, I knew the Newlands' new house had 2 floors and a basement. And, well, I feel that people need at least 1 telephone on each floor.
Feel the same way myself. But even more important, today people need telephones in each of the 3 major areas of their home. Living, working, sleeping. People don't usually recognize this. And Jennifer, we're failing them if we don't recommend them. Now, take your Mr. Newland, for instance. You forgot to tell him why. And when we make one all-inclusive recommendation, well, the recommendations have got to always include the reason for placing the telephone in each of the locations we suggest.
You mean more than saying privacy or convenience?
It's got to be a personal reason, based on a specific need. We're selling the value of the telephone, not the equipment.
Golly. You know, I should have said, Mr. Newland, the service I'd like to recommend for your new home includes an individual line, so that the service is always available whenever you need it. A telephone in the kitchen, which is pretty important to Mrs. Newland because she spends a lot of time there, cooking for her big family. You need a telephone in the basement because of the long stairs to climb, up and down when your wife's doing the laundry. You'll want a telephone in the living room, Mr. Newland, because I'm sure a family like yours spends a lot of time in the living room. And if you don't feel like getting up to answer the telephone, you don't have to. A telephone in the master bedroom, of course, Mr. Newland, to handle all the night calls. And service for your home wouldn't be complete, sir, without a color telephone and a listing for your daughter. It's important for a teenage person to have a sense of independence a telephone will give her. There you are, Mr. Newland. Don't you agree this plan fits your home and the needs of your family?
Fine. But all those phones, what'll it cost?
What about rates?
What about them? They scare you? Think they're too high?
Oh, golly, no. Not for the service and all the equipment people get.
But a lot of people think telephone service, good service, is much more expensive than it really is. So why not use the low cost as an advantage? Meet people head on if we feel people really want to know it. Let's give, well, only the monthly rate in a lump sum as part of the recommendation. Tell him before he asks how much he gets for so little.
Sure, like in a grocery store. All this telephone service, Mr. Newland, is only $11.20 a month, plus tax. And golly, we can give him the connection charge after he accepts the service.
Yes. This way you can answer a possible question, even anticipate and avoid a possible objection.
That's right. First, we get our facts with clear, pointed questions that lead to full answers. Then we evaluate them based on our training and knowledge. And second, we make our recommendations with reasons.
Of course, we hope to make our recommendations in such a way that the customer accepts our complete recommended service. And the best way to find out is to end the recommendation with a question, the way you did, to see if the customer agrees and is ready to buy without further discussion.
That doesn't happen very often with my customers.
I don't think any of us can do this all the time.
Or even half the time.
Which brings us to step number 3, answering objections. You know, I like to think objections are always new facts, new questions, and all we're doing is answering them. Well, you see, first crack, we may not hit on the reasons for buying which appeal to our particular customer. Maybe we didn't interpret the facts correctly. Maybe we didn't have enough facts.
Oh, well, I don't know. I really think one telephone's enough.
With this kind of objection, you might want to do a little more fact-finding. Find out how she uses the service. Perhaps where she intends to put that one telephone, so that you can point up the advantages of having other locations.
Oh, I see.
Come on, try it with me.
Okay. Where do you plan to put your one telephone, Mrs. Periwinkle?
We want it in the front hall by the bedroom.
Golly, I had a feeling you used the kitchen an awful lot.
Oh, yes, I do. Cook and bake.
Well, don't you think you might find it a little inconvenient having to leave what you're doing in the kitchen? You know, it's a strange thing, Mrs. Periwinkle, but we human beings have a peculiar habit of never being where the telephone is.
That's pretty good, Jennifer.
I remember that from Family Affair, about people's habits. Guess I could have gone on to really convince Mrs. Periwinkle about the kitchen or any other location where she needed a telephone.
Too expensive, I tell you. Too darn expensive.
What about this one?
Well, he obviously doesn't know how little an additional telephone costs. Or maybe he doesn't appreciate. Or maybe you haven't really convinced him or told him the value of the service. So you have to answer this objection by re-emphasizing the advantages in relation to the cost. And remember, each of your answers should close with a good question to get the customer's agreement.
Oh, I think I begin to see. As for cost, Mr. Newland, the additional telephones will cost only a few cents more per day than the basic service. You have to pay for a main line, sir, and the main line is the biggest part of the cost. But it's the additional telephones that really make your service convenient and complete. Would I like a second chance with Mr. Newland, now that I know a little bit more? Well, no use dreaming. I guess steps 3 and 4 kind of overlap. As a matter of fact, all 4 steps sometimes overlap. Get the right facts. Make recommendations with good, solid reasons. You can avoid objections and get right into step 4, closing the sale. Well, I ran downhill at first with step number 4. Mr. Bronson added the final page in my customer history on closing the sale. The facts told me he was a bachelor, just out of the service, setting up his first apartment. 1 bedroom, living room, kitchen. We can give you wonderful telephone service, Mr. Bronson, tailored just to your needs.
Great.
I'd recommend a private line for your unlimited calling, a color telephone in the living room and 1 in the bedroom, so whatever you're doing, you won't have to dash out to answer it. Total monthly charge for all this telephone service is only $7.45 plus tax.
Sounds pretty good.
Oh, it is, Mr. Bronson. You need a telephone in the living room, but an additional telephone in the bedroom is a nice, secure thing to have around.
Sounds like a good deal.
Oh, it is, Mr. Bronson. It's the most complete service I'd recommend for you.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it'd work out fine.
Well, oh, maybe just 1 phone. In the bedroom. I'll think about another one later.
I anticipated all the objections, and it fizzled out in a bunch of silence.
Oh, believe me, Jennifer, getting people to accept our recommendations, to say yes, doesn't need to be tough. It can be an easy thing. The secret is asking questions and then recognizing when the customer agrees with your recommendation.
I guess I talk too much. The first time Mr. Bronson said my recommendation sounded pretty good, I should have said, "Fine, Mr. Bronson, we can have a man out there on Tuesday." Should have wrapped it up.
Sure. Some people don't like to make decisions, to give an outright yes. Mr. Bronson was really pretty helpful. The important thing in closing a sale is to find out whether and when the customer agrees with you. The best way to find out is to ask a question.
Like, "Don't you agree this is the best arrangement for you?" Or, "Shall we have this installed on Thursday?"
Good. The point is, Jennifer, always try to close at the end of your recommendation. If the customer objects, then the next time to try to close is at the end of your answer to the objection. And you try to close at the end of everything you say from then on, with a question.
What about the times you run up against solid rock?
Oh, well, sometimes you can do everything beautifully. Have your whole approach really organized, go right up the 4 steps, and still get a turn down. But you can't win with everybody. It's humanly impossible.
How true.
But at least you've told them we want to give the best possible service. Maybe you've planted the seed for future contacts, who knows? Turndowns are a normal part of the business.
I guess so.
If you believe in importance of additional phones, in complete service, it'll get through, Jennifer. And you'll be able to close more satisfactorily with more and more people.
If I follow the 4 steps.
If you do, then you won't go wrong. But remember, you've got to wrap the human element around the 4 steps.
I was wondering what Marge meant by that when Mrs. Merrill called.
Hello? This is Mrs. Alfred Merrill at 627 West Barnes Road.
Be glad to help you, Mrs. Merrill.
You see, dear, my husband retired 5 years ago, and we finally decided to give up our big house and move into an apartment. It's really the darlingest place.
Mrs. Merrill sounded happy as a kitten talking about her new apartment. And, well, that was the missing link. That's when it happened to me for the first time. Suddenly, I got caught up in her enthusiasm. And, well, in my mind, I became Mrs. Merrill. I could see myself living in, using the apartment the way I felt Mr. and Mrs. Merrill would. From what she told me, I quickly made a sort of mental sketch of the apartment layout. The living room. Small dining area. Kitchen. Now everything was alive for me. I had more than just words. I had pictures. Word pictures of telephone service that I could paint for people to live in. I even imagined what Mr. Merrill looked like. I told Mrs. Merrill her complete telephone service included a color set in the bedroom. Because with their new tempo of life, they'd have more leisure. They'd probably want to nap in the afternoons or sleep late in the mornings. Mrs. Merrill told me she liked to bake and cook a lot for her children, her grandchildren. Well, I said it isn't any fun to keep running back and forth all day into another room to answer the telephone. So, Mrs. Merrill told me that in order to keep active during retirement, Mr. Merrill did some part-time bookkeeping at home. This is practical, I said, and necessary for Mr. Merrill's enjoyment of his work and the new, more relaxed pace he should be living. Yes, wrap the human element around the 4 steps, and you can really make people see and understand from word pictures the complete service you recommend. Yes, the 4 steps to sales. Works terrifically for me if I don't skip any of the steps. And believe me, I don't. I put this together with this, the people, and wow. Excuse me. Miss Blake speaking.
My name is Newland. George Newland?
Mr. Newland? Yes, sir.
I want to talk to you about having my phone moved to another room.
We can certainly take care of you, Mr. Newland. I won't be a second. I know just where your card is. Golly. That's the great thing about this job, isn't it? You never know from one contact to the next.
It was on March 10, 1876, that Alexander Graham Bell first succeeded in transmitting speech over the crude assemblage of reed, wire, and magnet, which was the first telephone. The story of the years since then, and of the part the telephone has played in the growth of our nation, could be told in many ways. But one way to tell it is in terms of three people. Of Jim Larson, who is the hope of tomorrow. Of Helen Larson, who is the spirit of today. And of Paul Kendall, who is the fulfillment of yesterday. "50 years, so long and yet so short a time. And often at the end, it seems the beginning was only yesterday."
All right, Yankee Doodle. Who are you looking for?
Says here you're hiring men for telephone work.
Men we are hiring, not boys.
I learn fast, and I'm strong for my years.
Oh, how you know? And your name?
Kendall. Paul Kendall.
Well, how do you do, Mr. Kendall? Mike Cassidy.
How do you...
Yes, now, son, now run along. I'm busy.
I wasn't sure I wanted the job anyway.
You what?
Well, I got an uncle who owns the biggest blacksmith shop in town. He thinks I'm crazy not to take a job with him. He says there'll always be blacksmiths, but the telephone, that's just for rich men and gabby women. Nothing but a gadget.
Oh, he says that, does he? Well, you listen to me, Mr. Kendall. You've got an uncle who's a fool, and you can quote me. You're talking to a man who helped install one of the very first switchboards there ever was, back in New Haven in '78, who helped string the first line between cities, from Boston to Providence. A man who's seen what this telephone has done for the country already in 25 years. A gadget, is it?
Well, that's what he said.
Well, you tell that weasel-witted uncle of yours that there's already 1 million telephones in this country, and I'll wager anything he wants to name that there'll be 10 times that many before I die. Anyway, before you die, you tell him that.
I'll tell him.
Yes. Oh, don't mind me, son. You said I'm not an altogether mild man when I get riled. Well, you come on in here with me. I want to show you something. You've had a doubt put in your mind about the future of the telephone business. Here's a man in Charleston, South Carolina, say, who wants to buy. And here's a man in San Francisco, California, who wants to sell. Think what a little Boston fellow would pick up the telephone and say, "Hello, give me San Francisco."
San Francisco?
Never mind. Well, anyway, you get the idea. The telephone is improving every day. It's the research that does it. The telephone was born in research. And it'll keep on getting better the same way. And once those research fellas find the right repeaters, you'll be able to hear not to Chicago like now, but to Omaha, or Denver, or Seattle, or wherever we can plant a pole or string a wire. And that, the both of us will live to see.
I'm beginning to believe you're right, Mr. Cassidy.
Ha! You can stake your life on it that I am, my boy. Here. Keep your eye on that bell, son. And mark my words, that as this nation grows, the telephone will grow with it. And it'll play a strong part in that growing. And the future that lies ahead is beyond the belief of any man.
Well, so long, Mr. Cassidy. Now I'm sorry I won't do for that job. Like I said, I learned fast.
Get out there with the others. Get to work.
Yes, sir.
The year 1903 marked important milestones of human progress as man first found wings with the flight of the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk. And a mechanic named Henry Ford organized a company which was to bear his name. But that same year, a young telephone lineman's helper found himself concerned with other things.
Is your Royal Whistling Highness aware that it's 7 minutes past the lunch hour?
Sorry, Mike. I was busy studying and I didn't realize.
What do you got there? Here, let me see it. Principles of electric... Well, how long has this been going on?
Over 6 months now. I've been going to school nights, taking a course in electricity.
Oh, you have you? What's this? A card. Well, I suppose you know what this means, Mr. Kendall?
What?
It means you're fired from this gang. Providing, that is, I can get you a job in the office where you belong. In the engineer's office at headquarters. Now, close that mouth of yours and get to work. We got wire to run.
The years moved slow there in the beginning of the century, but already there were signs of things to come. New York's first subway was opened. San Francisco rose from the ashes and debris of earthquake and fire. And with the years, the network of telephone communication throughout America was continuing to grow. The long-hoped-for line from coast to coast was finally nearing reality.
Oh, Paul, thanks for coming in.
Hello, Mr. Barker.
What do you think about that?
It's a model of one of the new repeater units, isn't it? The one the lab fellows have been working on?
Right, and it's worked out, Paul. Which means that the transcontinental line is no longer something we just talk about. Which brings me to why I sent for you. It seems that they need a few more engineers out there to help on the transcontinental project.
Yes, sir. And?
And it seems that one of the engineers in charge got hold of the name of a certain young man in this area. It was suggested to him by one of his construction bosses.
Mike Cassidy.
How about it, Paul? Would you like to go?
Would I? If it's all right with you, I'll leave yesterday.
Well, I think we can compromise on the end of the week. Good luck, Paul, and to tell you the truth, I envy you.
Oh.
Yes, the plan to bridge the continent by wire had been long in the making. But at last, on June 17, 1914...
What did I tell you, boy? There it is. Two-way bridge across the miles.
You were a prophet, sure enough, Mike.
And it's still only the beginning, Paul. Mark my words. Nothing in this world can stop us now.
No, nothing could stop us now. And then just 2 weeks after the completion of that line, war in Europe. But within 3 short years, Europe's war was Europe's alone no longer. And all over the nation, thousands of Paul Kendalls joined their fellow Americans in the first worldwide struggle against forces of tyranny. The day that all of it was over, and 1 million and more men could come home to the job building a nation. A nation now come of age as a world power. A nation facing new and greater challenges in every facet of its economic life.
No one can ever say we haven't a busy year ahead, Les.
Well, all you fellas between you may have finished the war in Europe, but it's a cinch none of you returning to the telephone company are going to have much of a chance to relax.
Who wants to? Just let me get out of this and back to my old job.
Your old job? Oh, well, about that, Paul, I'm not so sure.
You're not?
Well, you see, Paul, it's like this. Tony, haven't you finished with that yet?
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Barker. All finished, all finished.
You see, Paul, with Harry Cale's retirement, I'm moving up. So in figuring the right man to take over my job here...
Well, what do you know?
Good luck with it, Paul. Oh, watch it, Captain.
The nation out of war and into the hectic years of the fabulous 20s. A time of dance marathons, of human flies and sheiks and flappers, and a kind of a dance they called the Charleston. But it was a time, too, of important progress everywhere in American life. The telephone network sped the messages of progress between factory and office, farm and store. As the nation grew, the telephone system kept moving ahead, erecting new buildings, making new cable and line installations, anticipating the expansion of towns and cities and rural communities. By 1927, the year a young man named Lindbergh blazed a sky trail over the Atlantic, scientists at the Bell Telephone Laboratories were demonstrating a new development in communication, a device called television.
You see me clearly, Mr. Kendall?
I can see you. And I still don't believe it.
And that's why we like you men from the operating companies to get in here once in a while.
Gives you a first-hand look at some of the things we're doing.
It certainly does. And I'm floored.
I'll leave you to Dr. Stevens now. I've got work to do. So long.
So long. Doctor, is this practical for general use?
Well, that remains to be seen. So far, it's still in the experimental stage.
Can it be used to send out entertainment, sports, news events, things like that?
Well, that could very well be in time, but it's like the talking motion picture device we've developed that I showed you this morning. It's valuable and it's important, but it's still a byproduct of our real work. And I don't have to tell you what that is.
Improve the system.
Exactly. Better telephone service for more people every year.
It's still some byproduct, I'd say.
To us here, better service means constant research in many fields. And sometimes what looks impractical now may be a vital part of the telephone system later on. Back in 1915, 12 years ago, a single word was heard across the ocean. Just one word clearly heard. Yet this year, regular transatlantic telephone service was established, and you can talk across the ocean to London from any one of 18 million telephones in this country.
18 million. You know, Doctor, a great friend of mine once predicted 10 million telephones during my lifetime. And when old Mike said it, even that sounded fantastic.
Mike?
My first telephone boss, Mike Cassidy. Mike wrote me a while ago that he was retiring. Oh, not that there still isn't a Cassidy in the system carrying on for him.
Oh?
His daughter. Mike said she's just starting out as an operator in a small town out west, a place called Cedar Junction. I've often wondered what Helen Cassidy liked. If she's anything like her old man, she'll probably scare off every young fellow within 1,000 miles.
Bill there? Well, put him on, will you? Say, Catherine, finally found Bill. Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, just in time, kiddo. Perry's going to take me to a dance over to Carlsville tonight. The board's all clear. No LDs and no... Say, this is your first time alone on the night shift, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Scared, youngster?
Oh, no. Maybe I am a little.
Here you are. My first time alone, I was fit to be tied. Nothing ever happens. Oh, that coffee. Keep it hot. Drink it if you get sleepy. I'll give you a ring when I get home to see how you're doing. You know, there's one call you'll be sure to get. Oh, Mr. Clinner. He calls every single night of the year exactly at 11:55. Find out what time it is. Got 8 clocks in his house. Sets them all every night. Don't ask me why, he just does. Well, so long. Look, kiddo. There are going to be times when you'll think that running this board at night is the lonesomest job on earth. And when that happens, just remember, the President of the United States is right there if you want to call him. Not that I recommend it, but you can. I mean that it's not just as though this board tied together all the farms around here and made everybody in the county a neighbor, but it brings the whole blessed world in from the outside.
I'll remember. Thanks, Hattie. Number, please.
Give me Steve's.
Steve's?
Steve's Diner.
Well, what? Yes, sir. Steve's Diner, 135. Yes, Mr. Kleiner. It's exactly 11:55.
Just wanted to be sure.
Hey, you're a new operator, ain't you?
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you know? What's your name?
Helen Cassidy, sir.
Helen. Well, well. Good night, Helen. 11:55, eh?
Well, it's 11:56 now.
So it is.
Number, please.
Operator, a doctor, please, send a doctor.
Who is it?
Tommy Payton. My folks are away, and Linda's arm's bleeding. It's bleeding awful bad. I can't make it stop.
I'm ringing the doctor. Bleeding. Tommy, the person who's bleeding.
It's Linda, my sister. She was carrying the lamp, but a broken cut her arm.
How is it bleeding? Steady or in spurts?
In jumps like, and I can't stop it.
Tommy, listen to me. Is your sister right there?
Yeah, just beside me.
Well, let go of the receiver and feel up inside her arm, up above the elbow, and press with your thumb. Keep pressing different places until you find the one that stops the bleeding. And hurry, Tommy. Press hard.
I will.
Reedsville, this is Cedar Junction. I can't raise the doctor here in town, and there's an emergency on Valley Road between here and there.
I'll ring Dr. Sloan. That's fast thinking, honey. Who's hurt?
It's a little girl. She's...
Hello? I got it. Stop. I got it. Stop.
Good. Now listen, Tommy. Have you got a handkerchief?
Yeah, I got one.
Well, tell your sister to hold her own arm a minute. You tie the ends of the handkerchief together and slip it over her arm. And then with a pencil or a stick, twist it until the cloth is tight. And put the turning part right where you were holding. You got it?
Okay. Be right back.
Reedsville.
The doctor's on the line.
Hello. Hello, this is Dr. Sloan. I heard what you told the boy, miss, and that's exactly right. Where is this patient?
At the Payton Farm on Valley Road.
Well, you tell the boy I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'm on my way.
Yes, sir.
This is still Reedsville. Anything else you need?
Well, I don't think so. And thanks, Reedsville.
Hello, ma'am. I did it. It stopped and she can hold it herself.
Fine, Tommy. The doctor's on his way. He'll be there in 10 minutes. And if he isn't, you call me back.
I will. Gee, thanks, ma'am. For a minute, I was almost scared.
Well, I was almost scared myself, Tommy. For a minute. Are you okay now?
Uh-huh. Bye, ma'am.
Bye, Tommy. Number, please.
Hi, kiddo. You keep awake okay?
Oh, hello. I kept awake all right, Hattie.
How's it been? Pretty quiet, huh?
Oh, it hasn't been too quiet.
Need any help?
No, thanks.
Good night, kid.
Good night, Hattie.
The fabulous 20s moved on. Every business and industry in America knew a growth and prosperity never before dreamed of. It was the golden age that was sure to last forever. And then, October 29, 1929, the end of an era and the beginning of a long ordeal. And by the early 30s, in the office of just one telephone engineer...
I don't get it, Paul. For 2 years, things have been terrible, and getting worse. Businesses of all kinds going to the wall. Yet, now they talk about expansion. A whole new building with all dial equipment. What sense does it make?
What's going to stop the depression, Joe, if anything can? Keeping people at work, right? Well, that's why all over the telephone system, they've tried to keep every employee possible on the job. But another part of licking hard times is to keep right on investing in the future. This country will come back just as it always has. We of all people have got to believe that.
Well, now, when you think about it like that, I guess it does make sense.
I'm sure that's why we got the word to go ahead with these plans. And Joe, stop worrying.
And of course, neither the hopes for the future nor the building for the future had been in vain. By the mid-30s, the nation's industry in every field was on the move again. New jobs, new dams, new planes, new ships. And once more, the telephone system kept pace with America's progress and helped it grow. The years had brought changes, too, to Helen Cassidy, now Helen Larson, married, widowed, and mother of a 10-year-old son. Long since moved from Cedar Junction to a larger city, Helen has learned that these spectacular calls are rare in an operator's experience, but that friendly, courteous service is the normal day-by-day routine.
That was fine. Oh, hello, Helen. You girls have met Mrs. Larson, our assistant chief operator?
Indeed we have. How are the girls getting along with the practice board, Grace?
Oh, fine. They're really doing beautifully.
The dial still seems a little strange, though, after 2 years on a manual board in the other office.
You'll soon get used to it. And you're in good hands to learn.
Mrs. Larson, why all the bother to change the dial system anyway? Wouldn't it have been simpler to keep all manual exchanges?
It certainly would. But the way the calls are increasing without the dial system, there soon wouldn't be enough operators in America to take care of them all. Even as it is, we need more girls than ever before. Oh, excuse me. I've got a heavy date waiting. Goodbye, girls.
Bye. Heavy date. Well, that's all for today, girls. Tomorrow we'll study our chord practice.
Mom left her purse.
Jimmy, I'll get it. You shouldn't be in here.
Pearl Harbor. Never before had the American economy faced a greater challenge than in the days that immediately followed. How that challenge was to affect the nation's telephone system was soon established by conferences in Washington.
And I know we're asking a lot, considering what you've already done in the preparedness period. But where we needed complete telephone equipment for 20 training camps then, now we'll need closer to 200. And for calling home facilities from those camps, we'll need special installations. That's all, to say nothing of field telephones, wire, radar, sonar, and everything right on down the line.
Quite an order, Colonel.
It certainly is. And your Bell Lab facilities. We'll need even greater use of those than we've already had. Not only to develop new equipment, but to train technicians for all the services.
What about the general production of telephone supplies?
On that, our estimate is that your Western Electric plants will have to more than double their present capacity within a matter of months to even approach this schedule.
Paul, your company's pretty typical. As its engineering representative, what have you got to say?
Well, we'll still have to study these plans. But I've got a hunch the answer from all of us will be the same one the steel and aviation boys gave. It's unbelievable. It's fantastic. It's impossible. And we'll do it.
Unbelievable, fantastic, impossible. But somehow the job did get done thanks to hundreds of men like Paul Kendall and to thousands of other men in all phases of telephone work, research, manufacture, supply, and construction. And most certainly, all of this was not the work of men alone. Of vital importance, too, were the Janet Olsons, working to keep the regular service going at top efficiency. The Sophie Walenskys, meeting new challenges of service for military personnel. The Fran Nelsons, striving earnestly to meet the needs of people inconvenienced by the shortage of home telephones. And thousands upon thousands of feminine hands, working side by side with men's on those vital assembly lines and telephone factories across the country. And on the far-flung fronts of the global war, the equipment they produced was doing its part to aid the millions of men and women in uniform. Radar, sonar, gun directors and rangefinders, field switchboards, and all the rest were all helping to bring closer that long-awaited day. For the second time in a generation, the joys of victory and the problems of conversion from war to an economy of peace. At Bell Laboratories, while still continuing certain research for future national security, scientists and technicians devised means to redesign military equipment for civilian use and continued development of other vital projects. At telephone manufacturing plants, newly designed assembly lines turned out unprecedented quantities of new equipment with ever-increasing efficiency. And all over America, men and women in all branches of telephone companies were doing their part in a friendly, helpful way to maintain the highest possible standards of performance in a service that kept growing with even greater speed than ever before. "50 years, so long and yet so short a time."
You might include some of these figures in your speech, Paul. Take just one of the outstanding growth periods, 1945 to 1950, for example. 43 million telephones in 1950, an increase of 15 million or more than 50% since 1945. Almost 100% since 1940.
No, Harry. Figures aren't the answer. Oh, they're impressive, sure. Even impress me. Like the number of people who actually own the telephone system. Somewhere around 1 million stockholders, all over America. Mighty important, that. So are the new developments. Things like people dialing their own long-distance calls. And the calls themselves, carried hundreds at a time by radio or by a coaxial cable. It's all mighty impressive, Harry, but not for a farewell speech. For that, a fella needs... I still don't know. Thanks anyway for this, Harry. I'll just have to... Yes?
Mr. Larson is here, Mr. Kendall.
Oh, send him in. Know who this is, Harry? The grandson of my first boss. Just out of college and gone to work as a telephone research man. His mother's a chief operator in one of the companies. They both have come on to be there tonight.
You've met the boy before?
Never have.
I'll see you later, Paul.
Right.
Mr. Kendall?
Come in, boy, come in. Just stand there a minute. Let me look at you. So you think you can be a telephone man, do you?
I hope so, Mr. Kendall. They seem to think there's a chance at Bell Labs. That's quite a place, sir.
No doubt in your mind about the future of the telephone, is there?
Oh, none in the world. Why do you ask?
Oh, I just remembered something, that's all. No matter. How's your mother?
Fine, thank you. She's arriving by plane this afternoon. She said that Mike never would have forgiven us if we weren't both here for your retirement dinner.
Well, believe me, boy, I'm glad you are here.
Me too. Very glad.
Yes, sir. You're Mike's grandson, all right.
And I'm sure Paul knows, beyond any words of mine, how much all of us will miss him, and how much real affection follows him as he retires from the system. Now, Paul.
I have a confession to make. I've been trying to figure out for days just how to say goodbye. I still don't know. What can a fella say after 50 years? I do know I'm proud all of you are here. I'm proud, too, that the daughter and grandson of Mike Cassidy, of the best friends I ever had, are both here. Helen Larson and her son, Jim. Helen doesn't know it, but I've sort of checked up on her through the years. And she's got as fine a record as any chief operator in the system. Of course, I don't have to tell any of you about the importance of women to the telephone business. Outnumber us men 2 to 1. And old as I am, I wouldn't have it any other way. And Jim, well, he's about as new a telephone man as you could find anywhere. Just out of college a couple of weeks. So, of course, he knows more about the telephone than any of them. But he's lucky, Jim is. He's joining one of the biggest teams in the world. At a time when, however astonishing its achievements of the past may be, there's still only a promise of the things to come. Someone once told me that when I was even newer to the system than Jim is now. Keep your eye on that bell, Paul, he said.
You can stake your life on it, son. As this nation grows, the telephone will grow along with it and play a wondrous part in that growth. And the future that lies ahead is beyond the belief of any man.
And now, as I say goodbye to all of you I've known and worked with for many years, I say hello to the Jim Larsons and the Mary Angelos and the Harriet Flynns and all the young people, whatever their jobs, who are coming on. Tell the truth, I wish I had another 50 years to stay around and see what they accomplish. You see, now that the telephone is 75 years old, I've got the same hunch old Mike had when it was only 25. What lies ahead is beyond the belief of any man. For as great a part as the telephone has played in all our lives till now, believe me, it's still only the beginning.